you are what you eat. And nowadays, it's very difficult to know what's going in your mouth.
So we actually don't know what we are eating. A lot of times you bite into an apple and you actually have a weird, chemical taste. Strawberries, they are like completely insecticides.
A lot of people tell me about gut.
It is actually known as your second brain because of the microorganism, the microbiome that resides in the gut that plays a very, very important role.
I read a news recently where in India there were like around 400 masalas that were taken off shelf.
Food colorings, even artificial sweeteners, they are known to cause
these are all life-threatening. I mean, we take it so easily because of the taste. Sometimes the masala.
And what happens is the manufacturers add in a particular quantity that's recommended safe for us. There could be different foods that we have having that same chemical or that same preservative. Correct. So that adds in our body. So that builds up in our body to a level that's not safe for us.
Yeah. Hello everyone, once again. Welcome to On Point with Abbas Hamidi. Today we have a very interesting person with us today in the studio. She is better known as Dietician Sakina, or rather I would say #Dietician Sakina. She's done her master's in clinical dietetics is what it calls, right?
Yes,
dietetics. Okay, and she practiced dietitian here in a very renowned hospital. So Sakina, welcome to our studio today. It's very good to have you. And how are you? How has it been?
Alhamdulillah, it's going so great right now.
Amazing. Okay, so let's get started on point.
Yes.
Let's get started with the very basic question. How important is water? And a lot of people keep telling me that, you have to drink at least 1.5 liters of water a day. Is that true? And what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. So I think water is as important as we cannot stay more than 3 days without water. So it's that important. And oxygen, that your body really needs to function. The blood carries oxygen throughout the body, which is again 50% water. So that's how important water is. And like trillions of cells in the body, it's vital for their living. So yeah, that's how important it is. About having 1.5 to 2 liters of water, that's a very vague answer. That's a very generalized statement. But every person needs a different amount. Every person needs a different amount, different day as well. So you cannot say, okay, you good 2 liters today, so you'll be good 2 liters every day. It could change depending on your activity. Like someday you're working out, so you might need to up your water intake by 500 ml, or you're going out in the sun, you've sweated a lot, so you might have to increase your water intake.
But is it like it said that bare minimum is how many glass would you say?
So no, again, there's no bare minimum. 10
as much
glasses,
as possible you have to drink 10 glasses.
No, not as see, there's something called overhydration as well. So you cannot drink as much as possible. You have to make sure drink what is optimum for you. So there's a calculation that we do to get an estimate, and then we work out from that. So like, your weight into 35 is the amount of water that you need to drink every day. And then you monitor your urine intake output, like the color of the urine. It should be in the lighter shades of yellow. So that's what you monitor. And if it's within that range, then that's your optimal. And then, of course, you see your energy levels, how your energy levels are, of course, because dehydration would dip your energy levels. So you monitor that every day and accordingly use. So like I told you, it's different every day and it's different for every person. So 8 glasses or 2 liters is a very generalized statement.
But does it harm our body if we don't take water? And how far does it go? I mean, do we have major disease or major
so
effects
like
in
I
the
told
body?
you, dehydration is life-threatening.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you cannot go, like I said, you cannot go without water for more than 3 days. Whereas you can go without food for weeks at a stretch. So that's, of course, that's how important
water
you cannot. Yes, definitely.
And how is it like when we drink water? Of course, we know that we need to take a little bit of sips. What would you say that drinking water from a glass or a bottle or a cup, which would be more preferable, would you think?
So, of course, drinking water from a glass, drinking water while you are seated, drinking water in sips. Cannot gulp down water because then that's not absorbed well in the body. It passes through immediately. And you have to make sure that you're not drinking water in a go, as in so you're supposed to drink, suppose your number is 2.5 liters, you cannot drink like 1 liter, in an hour's time. You have to make sure at a time you're only drinking a glass, then give 1 or 2 hours gap before you drink another.
Okay, so you can't just keep
so you
drinking
cannot
water.
it cannot happen that you the whole day you've gone without water and you try to make up for the lost, or you try to bridge the gap in the few hours that you have left in the evening. So you cannot do that.
And
it has to be
also,
spread throughout the day.
Drinking water while eating, after eating food, is that harmful?
Yeah, so it affects your digestion. So you have to make sure that you're drinking water, or you have to keep a gap of half an hour before and
after food.
Yeah, after meals. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so my next question would be that how important is it to take care, which is the organ basically you need to take care, and if you want to have a healthy living, and how would you do that?
Okay, so all the organs are equally important.
Of course.
There's no organ. I mean, all the organs have specific tasks to do, and without that, we cannot function. So you have to make sure that you are working towards making sure all the organs are working as efficiently as possible.
A lot of people tell me about gut.
Yeah.
The health of gut. A lot of doctors, Ayurvedic.
So gut, yes. Now there's a lot of research going on in that area. It is actually known as your second brain. Gut is actually known as your second brain because of the microorganism, the microbiome that resides in the gut that plays a very, very important role in your brain health, mental health as well. So, and it's said that all the diseases begin from the gut. So that's one thing that is your gut. If you want to stay healthy, if you want to have a long life, you have to make sure that your gut is optimum, no constipation, no bloating, no indigestion.
How do we, like in everyday life, we are eating normal stuff. How do we, which is the best practice to do? How do we, maintain the gut? Is there medicines?
So, one is hydration, because that ensures that you're not constipated.
So drinking water,
yes, drinking enough water and taking enough fibers. So your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, your pulses, anything that has fiber, you have to make sure that all your foods revolve around, all the foods that you eat should have some amount of fiber in it.
Do you think that nowadays the fruits that we eat from there is always two counters? Like there's an organic, which is a premium fruit or food, that is a section, and then there's a normal one.
Yeah.
So do you think there are differences in that, or is just a marketing technique, or do
there's
you think...
a big difference in the price?
Yes.
Okay, but yes, there is difference, because one is grown organically without any pesticides, without any insecticides sprayed on it. So it makes a big difference. Whereas the fruits that we get now, they are sprayed with a lot of pesticides, a lot of insecticides. They are injected with a lot of chemicals to make it more sweeter or make it more appealing, the color more appealing.
Yeah.
So we actually don't know what we are eating. A lot of times you bite into an apple and you actually have a weird, chemical taste. You can actually feel it that this is not something natural. So so definitely organic is better, but considering the price point, you have to be
whatever best.
So there are certain fruits with thick skins, like pineapple, papaya. So there are certain safe fruits that you can have. Banana is one safe fruit, but strawberries, they are like completely insecticides.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And even if you buy organic?
There have been studies done where it's shown that when they tested the strawberries, it was only insecticides. Because the skin is so,
soft.
Soft. So it actually, when they spray, it actually penetrates deep inside. So
even if I buy
strawberries,
organic,
grapes, blueberries, berries, all kinds of
even in the
fruits
organic,
with
you're
thins.
saying?
No. Organic they don't use. That's the difference. So organic they don't use. It's the regular ones that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay. How important would you say that the meals are, the time of the meal, how important it is, and also the order of the meal? So what to eat first, what next? Because why I'm asking is that I have read in an article where it says that the order of meal also helps you in the sugar spikes if somebody is diabetic or hypertension, all those kinds. So how important is that?
Okay, so we have an internal body clock. okay, that works in in conjunction to the sun cycle. All right, so
Okay.
we are expected to eat with the sun, so with the sun timing. So you have your first meal at sunrise, you
Okay.
have the second meal when the sun is at its peak, that's in the afternoon, and you have your third meal before or during the sunset or immediately after sunset.
Okay.
Okay, so the timings are maybe 6 to 7 in the morning is your breakfast, 12 to 2 is your lunch, and dinner anywhere between 6 and 7.
So if you're following this timetable, you'll be okay. And this is the best
there
habit
won't
to
be
have.
any sugar spikes. Your insulin, your cortisol, all these hormones work in sync properly when you're eating at these times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you have a 12-hour window. You could either do 6 to 6 or you could do 7 to 7. That's the ideal timings to eat between those windows. And then you have a 12 hours break before you eat your breakfast again the next day.
And what would you say the order of food? Like you need to have sweets first or fruits first and then go with the full
ideally,
course?
so because fruits affect digestion, you cannot have it immediately after, or you cannot have it with fruits. Ideally, should be taken on an empty stomach. While you're having your meal, it has to be your fiber first. That's a plate of salad or a vegetable soup. Then comes your carbs and proteins. Okay, so whatever, your roti and dal and your chicken, whatever. And then last will come sweet dish, whatever it is.
So sweets has to be the last.
At the end, yes.
Okay.
So the sugar spikes is controlled with.
So people who are looking to have less sugar spikes need to have sweets in the end.
In the end,
and fruits in the beginning before the meal is what you're saying. It helps them better digest.
It should be at least 1 hour before the meals. So even if you're out at a restaurant and definitely you're going to order the dessert, so it should always be the last.
Yeah, that's what my next
and
question was.
And always start
actually
with the salad. Yes.
Yeah, so start with the salad.
Yeah, so the impact of that meal eaten outside will be less on your sugar
A lot of
spikes.
Arabic restaurants, they, it's complimentary item for them to keep the salad first and then get the hummus and the bread.
And we always do that, right? We always order the dessert at the end.
Yes. Okay, wow. Very important question that a lot of people told me to ask you is that the labels on the food items, especially for the kids and for the people who are specifically looking to gluten-free, vegans, a lot of people. So how important are the labels and how do you look at the product and what do you see to have the best food to have?
Okay. So I think the first thing is this world has become so commercialized, or the food industry has become so commercialized that I don't even think I should recommend having foods with labels on there.
Oh, wow.
All right. Now, if at all we are opting for those kind of foods, then definitely you have to scrutinize the labels. All right, because the manufacturers are so smart, they can easily trick you and make their way up.
Oh.
So you have to literally scrutinize the labels, see the sugar content, especially for kids, because I think they are the ones who are targeted as in they are the ones who are affected the most.
Yeah.
Because the sugar, the artificial food coloring that attracts them the most, the preservatives, it literally impacts their brain development. There are a lot of behavioral issues, there are a lot of sleep disturbances, there's hyperactivity with those ingredients. So you have to make sure that you're reading the labels correctly, making sure that there's no suspected ingredients, especially artificial colorings. They have a lot of impact on kids.
But they don't write artificial coloring. Yeah? Sometimes they write more scientific words. Yeah. So it's very easy.
But I would really want, because there are so many different chemicals that are added where we don't even know, and a lot of research is still not done on those particular chemicals. So it's like MSG research is done, and that's why we know. But there are chemicals that research is not done. But that's the reason I would recommend, as far as possible, not having foods with labels on, and as far as possible having fresh wherever possible, as much as possible.
So I read a news recently where in India there were like around 400 masalas that were taken off shelf because there was an ingredient which has been going on in the masalas since decades, and we are consuming it, and it causes cancer.
Yeah, there's a lot of food colorings, even artificial sweeteners. They are known to cause
Yeah, these
cancer.
are all life threatening. I mean, we take it so easily because of the taste. Sometimes the masala, then
And what happens is the manufacturers add in a particular quantity that's recommended safe for us.
safe.
But the thing is, it's not one food that we have in a day.
Yes.
There could be different foods that we have having that same chemical or that same preservative. So
Correct.
that adds in our body. So that builds up in our body to a level that's not safe for us.
Yeah. So even recently, I've lost a couple of people with cancer, and every time I think about it, that before this was such a major, symptom or a disease to die from. It was like once in 10 years we would hear
It
someone.
was a very rare, it's
And
become
now
very,
it's so
very
common.
Yeah.
Even like 4 or 5 days before, I got a message saying that I need help because there is somebody who's diagnosed with a cancer. So it has become so common, and I think it all comes like how people say that you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And nowadays people, it's very difficult to know what's going in your mouth. It's just we follow the taste.
Yeah,
And
no,
we
like it's said, right? The food is changed completely over time. Like I said, it's more commercialized, more hybrid varieties have come onto the shelves, into even fruits and vegetables, insecticides, pesticides. So the more chemicals we
more
ingest, the
chemical,
more inflammation there is
Yeah.
in the body. The more inflammation there is in the body, the cells don't work as it should be working.
Yes.
So then diseases come into picture with that.
So what I understand is that when we go, of course we have to go in a daily life. We have to go to a supermarket, buy stuff. I think that we need to be more vigilant and more information based. We need to understand what ingredients means what, and we
Yes.
need to do our research
Yes.
before we.
Yes,
And especially
definitely.
if you're buying something for the kid, I
Especially,
think there
yeah.
we have to spend a lot of time, and we have to understand the ingredient. Wow. Okay, one very there is one thing that I saw on your reel. I wanted to ask you. It was very interesting. You said that sitting is the new smoking.
Yes, yeah.
And smoking is, it's a
Yeah,
very strong
yes,
word to
yes,
say.
yes,
And you
yeah.
said that in your. I want you to elaborate on that. What do you mean?
So no, sitting is definitely the new smoking, is because it's proven that if you sit for more than 8 hours at a stretch, and most desk most people who are at a desk job do sit for more than 8-9 hours at a
Yes,
stretch
yes.
without taking a break. That is on par to the risk that we have with smoking. So diabetes, heart issues, cholesterol, blood pressure, obesity, cancer, it's all linked to it. In fact, physical inactivity is now the fourth leading risk factor for all of these.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and not only physical health, but also mental health. The risk of depression is higher when you're sitting more. The risk of anxiety is higher when you're sitting more. There's more brain fog. There's more memory loss. There's more forgetfulness. So it's impacting your physical as well as your mental health. Yeah, and then of course, your neck, your shoulders.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
all those issues are again secondary.
A lot of people in my circle, friends and family, everyone I know, 90% of them would sit 8 hours because our working
Yes.
space is designed such.
Yeah.
We work on, a lot of shops owners, a lot of office work that we do. Most of our people that I know are in this kind of space, and it does not, while you're working, you're busy, or you have something in your mind.
Yeah, you're so engrossed in
yeah,
it.
you forget to stand up
forget.
and walk
True,
and
true,
do
true,
that.
true,
But it
true,
has
true.
to be a habit, I
You
think.
have to. Every 2 hours, that's what I suggest to suggest my clients, is that every 2 hours you stand up, you go drink water. Don't keep bottles on your table that you're only sipping it from there. Go walk.
Walk and
go
get
to
the
the washroom, or just stand up, take a stroll, or stretch a little bit. You do some neck
Yeah, exercise.
exercises, move your hands, just do a little soleus push-ups. So things like that, where you are putting in some movement. And a lot of people, they work out in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they have desk jobs to attend where they are sitting throughout the day then,
Yeah.
which also does not work, because you have to be active throughout the day.
Throughout
It's
the
not
day.
that, okay, 1 hour, you worked out in the gym, you went for a walk, and then you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So it has to be throughout the day. You cannot be seated for more than 2 to 3 hours at a stretch.
Oh, 2 to 3 hours I think, is the bare minimum that we do, and
Definitely, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
No, you
something
can just
small.
put an alarm and then,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the watch does give you that, okay, it's time to
Yeah, if
move,
you're
you've
wearing
not
that,
moved.
Apple Watch or
Yes,
something like
yeah.
that.
But you can just keep an alarm every 2 hours,
Yeah.
that you, okay, stand up and
Stand
move
up.
around, stand up. It just takes 2 minutes. Just
What
stand
happens
up,
is
move
that I'll
around
tell
2 minutes.
a person will do that once, twice, once in,
But
for
so
a
you
week.
do it 1 week at a stretch, then it becomes a habit. Then
Habit,
you
yeah.
no longer even need the alarm clock
Yeah.
to ring, So
Yeah.
if it becomes a conscious habit, then you
I
will
think a
keep
person
doing it.
needs to be serious about his health.
Initially, you have to
And
push
yeah,
yourself. Yeah. And again, you need to understand the importance of your health.
yeah,
And because it's not something very physical, because it's something that you don't have
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
The issues are
Yeah.
it's not something that you're facing right
Yeah.
now. You don't take it that
Yeah.
seriously.
I've multiple times I have word with my father a lot of times, and he keeps telling me that how much ever wealth you have in your life,
Yeah.
I think health. If you don't have health, then that wealth is going to be used by somebody else. You won't be able to use it.
Definitely, your children.
So
maybe.
health is wealth is the
Yes.
most important
Yes,
advice
yeah,
or
yeah.
the line in life we need to follow.
I think
That
it's after 40, 50 that you actually get to use your wealth.
yeah,
Before that, you're
yeah,
struggling or minting money or whatever.
Yeah.
So and if that's the time where all the bad habits come into effect.
Oh.
So it's that's the time where everything that's piled on actually shows, gives you that impression, or it comes out as an effect. Whatever,
Yeah.
diabetes, cholesterol. It's not that you had, you went to a hotel and you had a burger and tomorrow you're going to have a heart attack. It does not happen
Happen like
that.
that, yeah. It's a
It
process.
piles up. Yeah, it piles up because you're doing it regularly. And then maybe after years it might show an effect.
Okay, I wanted to ask you one question. If today, listening at your podcast today, for example, if someone wants to change, what would be the first step? Does he has to do any medical examination, get some reports out first, and then act on it? What would you suggest?
I think the basic thing is you have to start moving. The first thing is you have to start moving. The second thing is what I feel nobody does, or most of them don't do, is the golden quote that everybody knows for sure: breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. And we literally do the opposite.
Oh,
So most of us skip breakfast. Lunch is like very light to moderate.
yeah.
And then dinner is like
Heavy.
a king,
Yeah.
literally like a feast, because you're so hungry throughout
Yeah.
the day. You've
Correct.
like not eaten anything. So
Correct.
naturally you will be hungry, but we need to flip that. I think if you just do that, 90% of your issues will be solved.
Okay, recommend me something to have best breakfast. Recommend me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Something that you would have.
Okay, so breakfast for me is always eggs, because it keeps you full throughout. You don't need to snack in the middle, all right? So it always eggs. Lunch is start with a salad, then it is a vegetarian. So it could be dal and rice, or dal sabzi and roti or rice. And then dinner is what is cooked at home. So it could be it's I have my dinner pretty early, say 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Oh, 5.
So yeah, so I have whatever is cooked at home,
Whatever
whatever home. It could also be thali.
Thali, yeah.
So whatever it is, masoor pulao, but something that's cooked at home.
Yeah,
at
home food.
Home,
basically.
like maybe could be chicken and rice or roti. So yes, yeah.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more thing I wanted to ask you, that how good is having coffee or chai, and how many cups do you need to have? Because
Okay.
why I'm asking this is
Yes,
because people have it with food, and it's the go-to drink for us.
Yeah.
So is it okay to have it, and how many glasses are fine, or what
Yeah.
would you advise on that?
See, coffee, I would say don't go more than 2.
More than 2 in a day?
More than 2 in a day. Yeah, don't go more than 2 a day of coffee. Black coffee specifically, I would recommend. Tea would be 2 to 3 max. The only concern with tea is you should not get addicted to it. I know a lot of people who cannot wake up without tea. I know a lot of
You're
people
talking to one.
who literally cannot go by the day if they skip their morning cup of chai. So like there are headaches and you have brain
Yes.
fog and you cannot think, and you feel that I can't understand anything, cannot work, and it literally, you are dependent on that 150 ml of
So addiction.
liquid to go by your. So that addiction should not be. It's not that tea is unhealthy. It's not that coffee is unhealthy, but you overdoing it and being dependent on it, that's the concern.
So coffee 2 cups is fine, and tea 4?
Maybe
2?
no, not
No,
four.
not 4.
2 cups
Two
then.
cups. So
Yes,
two and
yeah,
two. Two
yes,
is fine.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's go back to a question where eating food outside. Okay. For us, if I talk about myself, we eat a lot outside. Every friend's plan is going to
Everything
a
is
restaurant, and Dubai is known for its restaurants.
true.
The
Yes.
amount of food, the amount of meat that we eat, the red meat, and steaks and pizzas and burgers is very common. Just wanted to know that how in a week, how much should we eat from outside? What are the advantages, disadvantages? Say hygiene is there, and then there are some allergies that we built. We don't know how the food is cooked.
Yes.
What would be your
Yeah.
thought on that?
See, how many times you eat, there's no safe limit of eating outside.
Okay.
Okay, but of course, because we have weekends, so practically we can keep once a week.
Once a week is fine.
Once a week is fine. And what I do recommend is when you're eating outside, make the other meals lighter.
Okay.
Like that you're going out for dinner.
So the
try
whole
to
day you're
make-
talking about. So,
yeah,
okay.
so you try to make your other meals lighter. Maybe lunch you have like a big bowl of vegetable soup, something that you know that you're not going to have at night.
Okay.
So you make up for that nutrient on the earlier part of the day.
Okay.
You know that you're going to have a steak, so you can keep your lunch low protein. So you
Okay.
you can make it more high fibrous. You can make it a little less of protein. So you will have
and
to.
then you can have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And eating outside, the only concern is, I think, the quality of the food, the quality of the oil. Because processed oils, the vegetable oils, the palm oil, they are so inflammatory. And then we don't know how many times they've been used, they have been reused.
Rotation. Yeah. They
So,
keep cooking.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the concern that makes the food outside very inflammatory. Even if you eat a vegetarian meal, even you eat a grilled, at a grilled place, Arabic or Lebanese or something that's more healthier compared to junk or fast foods, even then that stays a concern.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But usually when eating out, I recommend having grilled, avoid, refined carbs. South Indian is something that I do recommend, that's amongst the healthiest in the Indian cuisines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a vegetarian thali. That's also, yeah.
So we talked about a lot of food
Yes.
aspects. Let me take you to a more physical aspect. How important is exercise? Why I'm saying this, because a lot of people tell me that if you're praying 5 times a day, you don't need that exercise. How true is that? Or what are your advice?
Okay. Now, so praying 5 times a day is more like, our prayer specifically is more like meditation. It's a form of meditation, not exercise. So you cannot replace exercise just because you are praying 5 times a day. And irrespective of that, kids, adults, elderly, working, non-working, I think exercise is as essential as drinking water.
Okay.
So especially we Indians, we've not been brought up with that mindset, but we need to change now.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that it is a part of a regular lifestyle.
What would you say? Which kind of exercise?
Anything. So for it can be playing, it can be sports, it can be running, it can be just simply
Some physical
walking.
activity, yeah.
Something that fits into your lifestyle, something that you can do long term. You don't need to join a gym for every, for your workouts. You can do something at home. You want to go. You're comfortable going to the gym. You do that, or you just be physically active throughout the day.
Yeah, makes sense. What kind of time is the best time to do exercise? Is there any specific
There's
time?
no, whatever suits you. I personally feel it's the morning hours, because that's where you're least
time.
distracted, and that's where you can complete whatever you want to do. You can, because in the evening times there's a lot of distractions. A lot of times that things come up, and your workout goes for a toss.
Yeah.
So it's always better to finish it in the morning, and it actually makes your day quite active and energetic if you're working out in the morning.
In the morning.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so like you have a lot of information, you studied this. A lot of data is available online, social media, TikTok, Instagram. Everybody is trying to teach you something or the other in terms of how good you have to eat. How would you segregate that? What would be your advice in saying that who to follow, and how do you make that choice or decision in life what to eat?
Okay.
What would be your thought?
See, I think social media is a very generalized platform. You cannot take anything personally. You as a person is very unique. So you have to make sure that whatever information you get, you have to see if that works for you or not. It might work for hundreds of people, it might work for billions of people, but it might not work for you. So you can take that information, put it into practice. If it works for you, good. Not works for you, you cannot blame that person, or you cannot blame social media for putting it out there.
Yeah. Understood.
So you have to be responsible for your own health. You cannot give your health in anybody else's hand. Not even your doctor, I would say.
Yeah.
You have to, feel your body. You have to observe your body. You see what works for you, and then you go ahead with it.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great advice. A very good thought.
But on the other hand, I must say this, that with social media, there is so much awareness, and I feel it's a very good thing because people are now more conscious. I see people changing a lot around me, like eating healthy, exercising now. It's much more than ever before.
Yes.
So that's a good part. Like even in my clients. So initially when clients used to join, they used to be like weight loss, Now it's like they said, I want to be healthy, I want to be more fitter, I want to make sure that my immunity is good. So there is this shift in mindset, which is really very healthy and amazing. Yes,
Of course, even if I see myself, I read a lot of articles and everything to keep myself healthy. So yeah.
Yes.
Very, I think it's funny, but it has to be said because I've written it down. A lot of people say that pet bhari na jamjo. That means, whenever you go to, people have invited you, they say that, okay, fill your stomach with food and go. Do you think that that's the right thing to say?
No.
Or is just, and you have to fill your stomach?
Absolutely no. You have to make sure that, it's a guideline, and it's a very, very important guideline that you have to make sure that you only eat 1/3 of the food. You fill your stomach only 1/3, and 1/3 will be liquid. So 1/3 solid, 1/3 liquid, and 1/3 space you have to leave for the digestive juices. Only then your digestion will be optimal, and what you've eaten will actually be absorbed by the body.
Okay.
And you actually get the energy or whatever you're looking for from it.
How would you know? I mean, when you're eating, like, and there's something that you like, and you keep eating. How would you know that that's?
So you understand that you are full. Okay, you are full. Like as in you're satisfied, and you can stop now.
You can stop.
So that's something that you have to decide. And your appetite is something that you modulate. Okay, so you eat more for a month, and you change your appetite to eating more. You eat less for a month, and you change your appetite to that. Like in Ramzan, you're not eating lunch for the whole month.
Yes.
After Ramzan, you will not be able to, like for the first 1 week, it's very difficult for you. You're not even hungry at that time. So you modulate or you fine tune your appetite. It's not something that naturally comes in.
Then, okay.
Yes,
you understand yourself and how things are working for you.
Yes.
Wow. Also, a lot of people sleep after eating. Lunchtime.
Yes.
So what would you say is that, I mean, it can be done, it's not a problem, or should not be done?
Naps are healthy. Naps are healthy. They it's like a charger, but it has to be 2 hours after you finish your meal. So if you're having a full-fledged meal, or you take a nap and then you wake up and have your meal. So, but there has to be a gap of at least 1 or 2 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was great to speak with you on
Same
so many
here.
topics. Just one last, I
Yes.
want an advice for my audience today. What would be a takeaway, and what would be your thought on something which is important and people can, take it away from today's podcast?
So I would say that, your body is your best bet. Feel it, observe how you're feeling, and then work accordingly. So after eating a meal, observe how you're feeling, okay, how your body is reacting to it. See what foods, give you a good feeling, a better mood, better digestion, and then you have to work your way towards it. So definitely there are guidelines out there on how to, how to modulate or fine tune your food or your lifestyle. But what works best for you is actually what works best for you. But it should be by your own self.
By your own self.
You need to
decide.
understand. You need to listen to your body and find that out.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you, Sakina Bain, for having such a great advice and podcast. It was very informative and very important things and thoughts and questions that we spoke about. And I would like to change myself in a better living, and then I would like to recommend my audience. Thank you everyone who's watching the podcast today, and thank you, like, subscribe, and support the channel as you guys have always done. And I hope we can all have a better living.